Hello everyone, here is Hema. Today's topic is root modification. What is this root modification? To explain that, what the root modification is a permanent morphological change in the shape and structure of root in order to perform some special function is called root modification. What is this? The meaning of this is a permanent morphological change. Any change that is a permanent in the shape or structure of a root of a plant in order to perform some special functions. To perform some special functions, the root will be modified, and this modification is called roots modification. Root modification, and this root modification is 8 types, namely storage roots, prop roots, stilt roots, nematophores or breathing roots or respiratory roots, wellman roots or epiphytic roots, nodular roots, photosynthetic roots or assimilatory roots, hostorial roots or parasitic roots. Now, by step, we will discuss about each type of the roots. The first, storage roots. Storage roots. In some plants, the roots become swollen and tuberous due to the storage of food material. In the plants, here the most common way is the roots will storage the food material. So they are bulged and swollen and form a tuberous. So this is called storage roots. In the storage roots, the taproot modification examples are Dacus carota, Raphanus sativus or turnip. What are these scientific names? These scientific names, and you all know that the scientific name, the generic name and the specific epithet. Generic name is always must be capital name, and specific name is always must be small letter. And this is an important thing in the examination. They will see that the scientific names will be, the first word should be at starts with the capital word, and the second word starts with a small letter. And what is the common name of Dacus carota is carrot, and it is a form of conical shape. And next, Raphanus sativus, it is common name is radish, and it is effusiform. Next, turnip, napiform. Turnip is nothing but it is beta vulgaris. Turnip is also called beta vulgaris, and this beta vulgaris common name is beetroot. So these are the taproot modification. Now I will explain about the adventitious root modifications. What is this adventitious root modification? I already say that the adventitious roots are the roots that originate from the part of the plant body other than radicle, are called adventitious roots. In this adventitious root modification, there are two examples, Ipomia batatas and sweet potato. What is the Ipomia batatas? Ipomia batatas, the common name is sweet potato. We already know that it is an edible one, and the sweet potato, it is a single adventitious root at the node becomes tuberous. Here see that the single adventitious root and the node becomes tuberous. Here the tuberous means the swollen. Here the root is swollen and tuber like structure because of storage of food material. So the modification takes place in these roots. And the same another example is asparagus monocot. It is a monocot plant. What is a monocot? We already know that monocot is nothing but the seed contains only one cotyledon, and the monocot with the fasciculated tuberous fibrous roots. Monocots are, we know that, fibrous root system. So I already said that in the previous video what is monocots and what are the fibrous root systems and what are the taproot systems, and search there if you have any doubts. This is a fasciculated tuberous roots, and here in the adventitious root asparagus the roots will store the food material, so they are swollen. And the next is prop roots. Prop roots or pillar roots. Prop roots or pillar. We have find that pillar is a It is a typical length body that will support the building. Like that, pillar roots. These roots acts as a pillars to the plant, to the tree. So these roots arise from the lower side of the branches. Here see, the lower side of the branches, the roots were raised and they remain in the air for some time. Here they remain in the air for some time hanging, and then the roots will enter into the soil. After enter into the soil, the roots will give the mechanical support to the plant. Mechanical support to the plant helps the plant become very straight and support to the plant. So these roots helps in the spreading lower branches and mechanical support to the plant. How they are growing? They are growing towards the soil. This means positively geotropic. So, what is an example for the prop roots and pillar roots? The example for the prop roots and pillar roots is Ficus bengalensis, the banyan tree. We all know that it is a ragi chettu. And the next, stilt roots. These roots develop from the lower nodes of the stem, and stilt roots grow obliquely and positively geotropic. These give additional support to the plant. Means these roots develops at the lower nodes of a plant. Here we see that lower nodes. From these lower nodes the roots were raised. So these roots arise and grows positively geotropic. These roots grows positively geotropic. Positively geotropic in the same wise we discussed in the previous root types, and that is prop roots or pillar roots. They grow positively geotropic towards the soil, and there the mechanical support. From here the still roots, these roots will give additional support to the plant. And what are the examples of these still roots? Are examples are GMAs and Secarum. GMA is the scientific name, and the scientific name, the common name is maize, and Secarum officinalis. The Secarum is with a capital letter and officinalis with the small letter. Here it is enough to use the generic name only, and the common name is sugarcane. We all know that. And the next root type system is nematophores or breathing roots and respiratory roots. They have the three names for the same root system, and these are special aerial roots of the mangroves. What are the mangroves? Mangroves are nothing but they grow in the swampy areas. Swampy areas means it is a waterlogged condition. With the swampy means the soil is with muddy and watered. Here the waterlogged condition. Due to the waterlogged condition, the roots of these plants, these type of mangroves plants, these type of mangroves cannot get the oxygen. So in consider to get oxygen, the lateral roots come out of the ground and grows vertically upwards. Here if the roots grow towards the soil, it is a positively geotropic. If the roots grow out of the ground towards vertically upwards, and it is negatively geotropic. Here the roots will grow up, and the roots contain the small pores called nematodes, and these nematodes are modified lenticels. They have the capacity to get oxygen. Examples are Rhizopora and Avicennia. Here we see that here the examples, here the modified lenticels are present. These lenticels helps the plant to get oxygen. Here the full of swampy. Here the area is full of swampy. Due to this swampy area, the waterlogged condition, the roots cannot get oxygen. To get unable to get oxygen, the roots will grow vertically upwards, that is negatively geotropic. Contains the small spores called nematodes, helps him to get oxygen and support to the plant. This is one of the root modification, and this is an important. And the next, wellman roots. Wellman roots, the plant that grow on the other plant for shelter only, are called epiphytes. Some adventitious roots of epiphytes are long and hang in the air. They have the dead hygroscopic epidermal Wellman tissue and are specialized to absorb the moisture from the atmosphere. Such roots are called Wellman roots. What are these Wellman roots? Wellman roots are also called epiphytic roots. These the plant that grows on the other plant for shelter, only for shelter, are called epiphytes. Epiphyte means the plants that grow on the other plant for shelter, only for shelter, are called epiphytes. Some adventitious roots of epiphytes are long. Here we see the Wellman roots and clinging roots. Here the Wellman in this plant they have seen the two types of roots. Here the one is clinging roots and other one is Wellman roots. These Wellman roots are adventitious roots which have the capacity to absorb the moisture from the atmosphere because they have the dead hygroscopic epidermal Wellman tissue. So they are specialized to absorb the moisture from the atmosphere. And the small roots are called clinging roots, and these roots enters into the crevices of branches. Means crevices means this is a branch of another plant. This is a branch of another plant. Here these roots enters into the crevices of the branch and fix the plant in that branch and fix this epiphyte in that plant. Hence it is a clinging roots. And example is vanda. Here we see in the diagram. And the next root type system is nodular roots. In the word nodular roots means nodules on the roots. The roots have, due to some technical problem, I am repeating again the nodular roots. What are the nodular roots? Nodular roots means nodule containing roots. The roots having the nodules are called nodular roots. These are present in the members of Fabaceae family. Nitrogen fixation bacteria like rhizobium lives in such nodules. These bacteria converts atmospheric nitrogen into the ammonia and supply it to the plant. And plant provides food and shelter to the bacteria. Here in this type of plant, here that is a taproot modification because an example is arachis means groundnut. Groundnut is a dicotyledon, hence the seed will be have the two cotyledons. The dicotyledon is the taproot system and it is a typical taproot system. Here the roots contain the nodules and attached to these nodules have the nitrogen fixation bacteria like rhizobium will present in such nodules. These bacteria will convert the atmospheric ammonia and the atmospheric nitrogen into ammonia. How they convert that atmospheric nitrogen into ammonia and supply to the plant. The plant wants the ammonia to grow more and the plant again provide the shelter and food for the bacteria and this is helping to each other. This process is called symbiotic process and the association between the plant and the bacteria is called symbiotic association. And the example is Arachis hypogaea and Dolichos lab. The common name of Arachis hypogaea is groundnut and the common name of Dolichos is lab is bean. And the next type of root modification is assimilatory roots. These assimilatory roots are also called photosynthetic roots. Photosynthetic. And the word photosynthetic means these roots perform photosynthesis. Because in some plants the roots are chlorophyllous. Chlorophyllous are nothing but the roots contain the chlorophyll and they are in green color. They perform photosynthesis and synthesize the starch. After performing photosynthesis, what are the products? Starch and preparing the starch. And these are called photosynthetic roots and these are the aerial, not aerial, and the ground. And example is Teniophyllum, an epiphyte that lives on the other plant. It is called the plant that lives on the other plant for shelter are called epiphyte. So example is Tenias phylum. Here we see the Taenia phylum. Here the green color structure, and the root is green colored, chlorophyllous, and perform the photosynthesis. And the next type of root modification is the last one, the hostorial roots or parasitic roots. What are the hostorial roots and the parasitic roots? What is meant by first parasite? The plants that depend on the stem or the root of other plant for their nutrients are called parasites. Parasites are nothing but, we studied in the previous in the epiphytic roots, the plant that depends on the other plant only for shelter are called epiphytes. But in this root modification plants, the plants that depend on the stem or root of other plants for their nutrients are called parasites. Plant providing nutrients to the parasitic is called host plant. We already know that we have two bodies, the host and the parasite, in which the host is severely affected and the parasite is parasite is gained, and the host plant will be adversely affected. Like that wise, in the host plant, the plants that develops on the stem or root of other plant for the nutrients are called parasites. Now we will explain that pig-like special roots of parasites helps the parasite in absorbing water, minerals, and food from the host. These are called hostorial roots. Here the parasite, it is a plant. In this plant, the host is another plant. The parasitic plant that depends on the other plant. This other plant is called host. From this host, the plant have a peg-like special roots. These parasites have the peg-like special roots, and they absorb water, minerals, food from the host plant, and these are called hostorial roots. Suppose if the hostorial roots, we already know that the xylem and phloem. Xylem is a water conductive tissue and phloem is a food conductive tissue. If the parasitic plants hostorial roots absorbs water and minerals are called partial parasites. Means only water and minerals are absorbed by this parasitic plant. If that parasitic plants are called partial parasites, and these plants send the hostorial roots only into the xylem vessels, because only water and minerals, the xylem is a water conductive tissue, so these plants send the hostorial roots only into the xylem of the stem or the root of the host plant. Some parasitic plants extend their hostorial roots in the both xylem and phloem. Phloem is a food conductive tissue and xylem is water conductive tissue. So this parasitic plant absorbs both water, minerals, and food also. So this is a complete parasite. The host plant to obtain both water and food, these are called complete parasites. Example: Viscum, Striga, Cuscuta, and Rafflesia. Viscum is a partial stem parasite. Striga, partial root parasite. Cuscuta, complete stem parasite. Rafflesia, complete root parasite. Partial stem parasite. The roots of the stem of a plant that extends to the other part of the stem of a plant and absorbs only water and minerals are called partial stem parasite. The partial root parasite. The hostorial roots of a parasite absorbs only water and minerals and spread their hostorial roots only through xylem vessels are called partial root parasite. What is a complete stem parasite? The stem of a parasite that extends into the both xylem and phloem tissues and absorbs both water, minerals, and food, and is called complete stem parasite. What is a complete root parasite? The roots of a parasitic plant extend the hostorial roots to the both xylem and phloem and absorbs both water, water, minerals, and food material. This is called complete root parasite. Here we see that examples of viscum, striga, cuscuta. Here the viscum is a partial stem parasite and striga is a partial root parasite. Cuscuta is a complete stem parasite. Here this is a parasite. This is a whip-like stand-like structures are the parasite. This parasite enters into the stem of a plant and absorbs both enters into the both xylem and phloem vessels and absorbs both water, minerals and food materials. Here in the striga, in case of striga, only striga is a root parasite, the plant that depends on the roots of other plant and only enters into the xylem vessels and absorbs only water and minerals. It is a partial root parasite. In the case of viscum, the plant that enters into the stem of other plant, the plant that spreads the stem, the plant that spreads the parasite of other plant and the enters into the only the xylem vessels. Here only the xylem vessels means it only absorbs the water and minerals. So it is a partial stem parasite. Here enters into the stem. Enters into the stem and only absorbs the water and minerals. Hence it is a partial stem parasite and enters into the both. Here also it enters into the roots and absorbs only water and minerals and it is a partial root parasite. And here in the case of this cuscuta, here these parasitic plant enters in the stem of both xylem and phloem vessels and absorbs both water, minerals and food material. Hence in this case it is a complete stem parasite. If the same structure, if the parasite enters into the root and enters into the both xylem and phloem vessels, suppose if the plant enters into the root, if the plant spreads their hostorial root to the roots of another plant and enters into the both xylem and phloem vessels and absorbs both food material, water and minerals. So that is called complete root parasite. Here we have completed that the types of roots. If you have any doubt in any topic, ask me in the comment section. I will explain. Okay, thank you.